So, the organisation that I work for is global in nature. There's about 42,000 staff spread right across the globe. So as you can imagine, certainly in the current climate, the ability to run innovation challenges, innovation workshops and innovate across teams, you don't have the ability to fly people globally into one actual area. So we have that challenge within our organisation to try and run innovation challenges and innovate amongst groups globally within the organisation. So the one thing we do have is our innovation journey, which is defined, as you can see over to the left-hand side, there's all of the drivers where challenges arrive in for a need to innovate within the organisation. We have regulators, we have our sponsors. Sponsors to us, just so everyone understands our phrases and terms, sponsors would be the pharmaceutical and biotech firms. So that's basically who our customer group are. We've the need constantly to be a competitive edge. We've business development opportunities, we've process improvements, strategies and quality drivers flowing in out to the organisation. And they flow into ourselves within my team as ideas, problems and opportunities. So what we do is we then run innovation challenges with functions across the company. Now they can be varied in size. If I give examples of a few, we typically do about 25 challenges a year. They then drive hackathons post that. So an innovation challenge, there was one of the ones we ran last year was 13,500 people out. So you have to basically manage that entire group to gather ideas, distill the ideas down and create challenges and opportunities that flow out of that. And then what we would do once we've run that innovation challenge, we would then do sort of more niche focused hackathons where once that business unit has agreed what their set of opportunities are, we then drive it down to do individual hackathons with smaller teams to drive out what that potential opportunity is. And then that would flow through, and as we refine the sort of business proposition that comes out, there's some of them are business process change, and some of them have a technical nature. So the business process change, we would engage with the business and support them through that change. But then on the technology side, within my team, we have pockets within my team that look after the various technology innovations. So they would then drive that through a proof of concept. And the proof of concept provides a very sort of safe environment and a safe bubble for people to operate and fail in. So we have minimal financial funding that's needed to run a proof of concept. So in a corporate world, there's a much reduced exposure to people's careers if they fail, because we keep it within that bubble. And once we get through and the proof of concept comes out with something, we move through to design. And once we have the design done, we create a business case and get the financial funding within the organisation to drive through the delivery of that change. So within our organisation, we have a platform called Spark. And what Spark basically facilitates us to do is run these challenges globally across the 42,000 staff. So it's an idea management solution where it allows colleagues across the organisation to submit their ideas in. So we would basically create a challenge with a particular business unit where they frame it, what they want to do. And then the colleagues within those teams submit the ideas in. And I'm sure within all of your lives, both within your work environments, your academic environments and your friend environments, you have people within those groups where if there was a sport for talking, they'd be winning gold every week. So in the corporate world, it's exactly the same. So by having this platform, it gives everyone a neutral base to be able to submit ideas in. Because if you're in a meeting setting and there's that individual there who's just talking, it consumes a room, and if someone isn't of the nature to be confident in a room, they shut down. And that sort of stems and wipes out ideas flowing in. So this platform gives everyone in the organisation the ability to submit the ideas in. What they do then, once that's in, the colleagues within that function basically comment and vote on those ideas. So we're constantly monitoring the data and analytics that are coming off of that around what ideas are starting to generate a lot of focus within the area. And you know, if I go back to the challenge where we had 13,000 staff, there was 490 ideas that came in. They got distilled down to 50 because of the voting. And then the business unit was able to select about 25 that they then established a program of work to drive change forward with. So what we get from Spark, the platform, we get the analytics, which basically gives the breakdown and knowledge to the business teams of what ideas are driving the most interest within the teams. And again, having a platform like that, you may have the talkers inside the room that only want their ideas heard. They also tend to be the ones that want their ideas selected because they're definitely the best ones ever the world has ever seen. So a platform like this allows everyone the ability to select and vote. So you could very well get the quietest person within the team, but it's in a really solid idea, and the rest of the team are voting on it because it's online and there's no meeting face-to-face presence on it. We then feed from that, we go into a head-to-head review with the team that is driving that challenge. So it would be a select team. So we go through and we supply all of the data in it to them. And then what flows out of that then is the opportunities and perspectives around what areas they need to focus on to drive through change. So methodology we have for running those challenges across the organisation, we spend time with the committee of that challenge to frame the actual problem that they're trying to actually fix. And that's probably the most important thing. If you go out on a platform like this with a vague statement, the ideas you'll get back in will be extremely vague. So you need to spend a lot of time on framing it. You need to decide the audience, because you need to make sure who are your target audience and where you believe that a change has to exist and drive within the organisation. We then, my team execute the actual challenge, and we engage with the business to execute that and drive it through. Then we engage and capture all of the data that's flowing out of that. And then we would partner with that business unit to implement and measure the result of that actual change that comes out. So we're literally partnering with the business from the start right through to the end. We make sure that we don't just frame the challenge and execute it and step away, because what happens then a lot of the time is the energy dissipates within that team and they don't drive through the change. So we make sure we're partnered with them right throughout the actual journey. So the next thing is, what level and length of time does a challenge take? So when we're framing the challenge, we would typically spend about 2 weeks with the team managing that change. Very much to make sure we build out the challenge within the Spark platform and all the right questions are there, the pertinent questions are there. We then do a pre-launch marketing piece, which is very much over a 2-day period to drive awareness in that group that there's a challenge about to launch. We then leave the challenge live for 2 weeks. We keep it short because previously what we found was business teams are coming back saying, we'd like an extra week, we definitely want this to run a month. The energy is there at the start and it dissipates extremely quickly. And if you keep dragging it out, people just become bored with constantly getting emails to say you need to submit ideas. So we do an intense piece of marketing post the launch for 2 weeks to get the ideas in. And during those 2 weeks, we're constantly emailing out, telling them the number of ideas, the type of ideas, and they've access to the platform, so they're able to see everyone else's ideas, and often someone else's idea sparks someone else to come up with something. We then do the head-to-head challenge for a 2-day period, so that's a workshop we hold with the heads of the business unit to go through all of the ideas and we basically present them the data, the voting, who actually commented and what was commented and which ones are getting the most interest across the teams. And then we basically do a outcomes piece where, and this is one of the key pieces, that when you've decided what way you're going forward and the ideas you've picked and the program and how you're going to structure it to actually execute the work, the key thing is to go back to the team that were within the actual challenge. So often we have prizes internally. So within the company, we have an Inspire system where you actually get points. Those points are literally credits that you can then procure stuff out in a public marketplace. So we would typically have Inspire points for the people's ideas that are picked. So we make sure we go back to the teams, because one of the worst things you can do with these challenges is you drive, you tell people to submit ideas, you tell people to go in and vote and comment, and then you never come back to them. And they're always wondering, what happened with that challenge we were doing? Did anyone ever get anything? Were any ideas picked? So we always make sure the outcomes piece is we go back and communicate very clearly to the teams what was picked, what's going to be driving forward. And then we do a workshop with the management from that team and the people who submitted the ideas to start planning out what does execution look like, and how is it going to be executed, and what type of program is going to be there, both from a resourcing perspective, a financial perspective, because again, the biggest turn-off for anyone entering this is they get through, their ideas are picked, and then the company doesn't back it to actually execute it. So you need to make sure the backing is there, the structure is there to support, and also the resource time. If you're submitting ideas and you're being told you're a champion of that and you drive it forward, and then you go back to your own bubble in work and your boss turns around and says, that challenge has nothing to do with me, your job is X, execute it. And you're thinking, I need the time to execute. So we always make sure that it's a defined program, the resource allocation is assigned to it, their time is assigned to it, so they're able to execute it. And then coming out of that, the POCs that come out of it, the proof of concepts and the implementation, we're actually there to make sure that gets pushed through. It's a double edge to it. We want to make sure, one, the improvements get pushed through and the company gets the value out of the challenge. And two, from a branding perspective from our own team, we want to make sure people see when we run a challenge, the benefit comes out the far end and people want to engage. And we're certainly seeing that within the organisation where there's, if I go back a few years, there was 10 or 15 challenges running a year. I reckon this year we'll probably net out at about 40 challenges. All of those have hackathons that go with them. So the hackathons, again, we have a online collaborative platform where a hackathon would have max about 20 people in it. If you have any bigger than that, it doesn't work, because it's just chatter then and everyone's talking and you're trying to control a room. So if you keep it to that small group, and what you do is you slice up your opportunities that come in as the outcome piece, and then you drive hackathons from each of them. And the hackathon is really solutioning. So what does the actual solution look like that you're going to drive across the organization? So if I look within my team, I have a whole team of really intelligent folk who are far more intelligent than me, who are data scientists who basically develop AI. So one of the elements that we have coming out of our challenges is, some of it is technical, some of it is AI. So some of the examples I'll be able to give, and it'll resonate more when I talk later in the day around clinical trials. But one of the big areas in clinical trials is the recruitment of patients. So we basically developed a AI-powered application that identifies the optimal sites and investigators to recruit patients for trials. And from that AI, and this came from a challenge where the staff from the feasibility group who go out and set up sites and start to recruit patients for trials were literally saying, it's a arduous task to try and find the right sites, the right investigators for trials. We basically brought AI to bear there. And what they've seen is a 58% increase in the speed to get a site energized and set up, and a 50% reduction in non-recruiting sites. And a non-recruiting site in a clinical trial, the typical cost to set up a site for a clinical trial is about $1 million. And currently about between 11 and 20% of all sites recruit 0 patients. So you can imagine with all of those sites, with doctors, with nursing staff, with technology, do not recruit a single patient, purely because they weren't the right site or the right investigator who had a patient population around their area. There's other examples we have where we've developed AI around key opinion leaders in rare disease studies. Again, a very lengthy task in a CRO world to find those key opinion leaders. We've now developed AI which identifies those key opinion leaders quickly. And the other piece we've done as well is around post-marketing study requirements. We've basically developed AI, and again, this was from teams to say, we go in, we engage with a sponsor, we execute a trial, but right at the end, when the regulatory authorities are approving the drug, they enforce a post-marketing study, which from a sponsor's perspective means an extension of the trial, more financial funding, a delay in the release of the drug, and it costs big money. So what we've developed is AI that's able to, right at the start of a trial, identify when a post-marketing study is going to be needed and for what reason. And the accuracy we're seeing, it's been in place now for about a year and a half, 2 years. The accuracy we're seeing is about 99% accurate, that it's able to predict when this is going to happen. What that allows is it allows the pharmaceutical and biotech firm to re-engineer their trial to reduce the need for a post-marketing study, saving huge amounts of time and a lot of money. So there are just some of the elements where in a challenge with a business unit, some of them are process change and some of them are tech. And with the tech, we were able to basically drive that with the business to deliver solutions. That's basically it.